Hello everyone, this is Siddhant Ray here. So this is the first video of a series where I connect with international students and ask them several questions on how they made it to the prestigious university where they are currently and how you as an individual can do the same. So our first episode, we have Naman Talreja here, who is from Georgia Tech University, which is one of the top colleges in the US. So without any further ado, let's begin with this podcast. So Naman, my first question is, what course are you pursuing at Georgia Tech?
So I'm currently a computer science major at Georgia Tech, and I'm planning to focus on people and artificial intelligence.
Okay, wow. Then what school were you in India?
I was in the Aditya Birla World Academy, which is located in Mumbai.
Okay, so can you just give a quick brief about your IB subjects and your predictive grades and how your board's journey was?
So my school actually has IB and A levels. It's split. So I was in the IB program, and as part of the IB program, I had three HLs and three HLs, and which is high level courses, and three standard level courses. My high level courses were physics, math, analysis and approaches, and chemistry. Whereas my lower levels were economics, English, and Hindi. I'd say IB was pretty. I actually came from ICSC, so IB was a pretty new journey for me, which was because the mode of learning. So in ICSC, you're used to reading a textbook, knowing the textbook. In IB, you gotta go out, branch out to the internet, and it actually prepares you pretty well for university based on what I'm doing right now.
Okay, wow, that's great. Then can you throw some light on your IB predictive grades, like how they were?
So our school really doesn't reveal any predicted grades. I'd say, but also at 11th, I had a 41 on 42, and then on in the 12th grade, which basically is the final report, the last three reports that go to university, I had a full, which was 42 on 42.
Oh,
Um, we don't really get up predicted, so I can't really say that. But other than that, it was basically that,
so
like 40.
considering your grades, we can say that your predictor was around a 41 or a 40.
I'd say it would have been, yeah, it was probably pretty good, maybe
Okay,
42
got
on
it.
40, because our school
Yeah.
didn't get.
Okay, yeah, makes sense. What about your letter of recommendations? Can you describe your journey through that?
So I actually have a bunch of LORs, or not necessarily. So there are some that are officially sent by school, and some I just got through my internships and these other opportunities. So the ones I was sent by school were three. The first one was math, and one was English. I actually wanted both a technical and a very literal aspect to my LOR. I wanted to be emotional as well as technical. So the technical aspect was math, the emotion aspect was English. And I was actually the leader of my school's FRC team. So I had the teacher there write me an LOR too. I also had an economics LOR and an LOR from most of my other teachers back in my old high school. And I had an LOR from Deloitte and a few other companies that I worked at.
Oh, wow, that's great. Then for the extended essay component of IBDP, so obviously you're pursuing computer science. So can you like explain what extended essay you wrote on and what was the topic related to the subject?
So, because I'm pursuing computer science, I always wanted to do that since I was a kid, right? But I didn't take the subject in IB, so I couldn't really do an extended essay in CS. So I did one in math, and it was actually on how every earphone sounds different and why expensive earphones sound better than cheaper earphones, and a mathematical analysis on the same.
Oh, okay, fine. Wow. Then can you explain the like what did you choose for the standardized test? Like did you do the SAT or the ACT and what scores you got in the test which you did?
So I actually did the ACT, but I did it pretty late, which was in September. It was my first attempt. I got a 36, which was pretty okay. So
Oh, wow. And did you give any SAT attempt before that?
I did start with the SATs. I was doing them, and then I realized they aren't for me. So I switched gears completely to ACT.
Okay, fine. Then what about your AP test, the advanced placement test? Did you give any for any subject?
So because I didn't take CS in the IB, I didn't take CS in the IB because most schools, like top colleges, require chemistry for 4 years. So because I didn't take CS in the IB, I did the CSA AP, and I got a 5 there.
Oh, wow, that's great. Then the next question I would like you to answer in a detailed manner. So it's about extracurriculars, which most of international students, especially Indian and Asian students, struggle with. So I would like you to divide your answer in two parts: the tech-related extracurriculars and the non-tech-related extracurriculars. So can you explain that as well?
The tech related ones are called co-curriculars, and the ones that are non is called extracurriculars. That's how mine was. I was divided. My main focus was on my co-curriculars. My extracurriculars were largely taught to me because I did the ICSC program, and as part of it, I also did MUN. I did. I was part of my school's newsletter, so I had a bunch of them already. But my co-curriculars were the ones that I actually had to develop. Which was basically internships, doing research projects. I wrote a research paper under a U Chicago professor on AI. So like a bunch of these projects, which it could be anything ranging from like a small project you do by yourself for yourself, like it could be coding your own website, to something big, which is make causing a change or like giving an app to a government or anything on those lines, right? So it had a wide range, but I also ensured that as part of my core curriculum, it was not just filled with my projects, it was also filled with some competitions I took part in. So my skills were actually recognized. And I also, as part of my extracurriculars, I didn't, because sometimes what students do is just they write things down, which is just overly exaggerated. And one way to make sure that the university knows that you're not exaggerating any of your extracurriculars is to get recognition on them. So for me, the way I did that was I applied to a bunch of programs and awards and won a few, which helped me gain recognition and basically prove to the university that I actually did those things.
Oh wow, that's really great. And you had mentioned that you were the leader for FRC in your school. So can you describe your FRC journey as well?
So my school was actually very new to FRC. The year before I joined was their first year, and they didn't really make a robot then. Like it was, they
Oh,
couldn't. So the first year I joined, it was the first, basically the first time we were making a complete robot, and we wanted to fulfill all the requirements. We want to go take part. Our flight tickets to Turkey were already booked, and our the regionals were going to happen in Turkey. So we actually managed to develop the robot. Our autonomous systems and our non-autonomous systems were working perfectly. And I would say we stood. I think we, if we went and we put in a little more effort, we could have done brilliantly, hopefully, at the competition. But the reason we couldn't actually go there was because at the time the Russia-Ukraine conflict was going on and Turkey was under stress. So we couldn't go there because of our safety. But we actually managed to develop the robot, meet all the criteria. We demonstrated it in the actual setting. So we actually rebuilt the whole playground, and we showed that our robot can actually has all the functionality to do whatever is required. And
hmm.
thus we actually, like, I think we successfully developed the school successfully developed the first robot ever for the team.
Oh, that's really nice. So you were basically like the initiator of the actual team.
Yeah, I was firstly, I was not from the school, so I was from a new other school. So I had to get adjusted to the environment and everything at the same time I was working on this. And I didn't do FRC last year, so I was completely new to the whole concept.
Okay.
Back in ICSE, we didn't know what FRC was, but I did have a lot of interest in robotics, and I was doing it since I was a kid. So then it was easier for me to adjust.
Oh, so like actually coming from a different school and then being able to build a successful robot in the first year itself, that sounds very impressive. So wow. Okay, then what about your school rank, like in ICSE or in IB?
So in ICSC, by the percentage standards, I came second in the school. But in IB, we don't really get like a grade system. I we
But
only
you
get
were
like
in the top 10%.
yeah, but we only get like yeah, we get that. We get like how many people got 36, how many people got 36, how many people got 40, how many got 41, 42s. And because I was constantly getting 42, I was basically in the top 10%.
Exactly. Fair enough. Got it. Then, are you part of any side hustles? Do you own any businesses? And what's your prior experience with computer science?
I'm not part of any side hustles. I definitely did experiment into that field. I A few years back, me and my friends, which was in actually 10th grade, I'd say me and my friends developed. We basically were teaching people computer science, and we earned money through that. But we realized we didn't really need the money. We were just doing it. So then what we did was we actually donated all the money to charity. So it's not necessarily a side hustle. It was just us doing some charity work, I'd say. And when it comes to businesses, I actually do have my, I wouldn't say it's a business, but it's an NGO. So I do have my own NGO, which I was running back in India. It's like it's been running now too. It works autonomously now because I shifted to the United States. So yeah.
Oh wow. Okay, fine. What about any sports? Do you play any sports? Like, did you play any sports while applying for college?
I was consistently part of the school's basketball team. I think I was co-captain for a year or two. So I was playing basketball throughout college. I wouldn't say compared to the way they play here, it's nothing in India. So
Hmm.
um, I was still doing sports. I showed that I am still like athletic in whatever way possible. And I had it written on my application in the common app, like basketball as a category. But other than sports, I do physically work out often. So then I just did have time for everything.
Oh wow. Okay. Then, like in India and especially across the world, a lot of people face a lot of issue with this one thing called procrastination. So, can you tell us your story with time management?
I think I'm the type of person who, when I know I need to get stuff done, I'll just get stuff done. Like I don't procrastinate. Like if I'm watching a video, I will stop everything. And if I know, okay, I have an assignment due at 12. If I haven't started it by 8, I will actually start. Like I will not procrastinate, not panic, not freak out, just start working. And when I get in the zone, everything just goes through. I basically work well under pressure. And that's possibly because when I was in the 11th and 12th grade, most people say IB is a journey where you're up till 2 a.m. and like working hard. And I'd say that isn't wrong, but I would say you have to condition yourself into getting into a routine. And the way I managed to do that was actually going to the gym consistently, which was 2 hours a day. And because I had that consistency, I could actually implement that same consistency in my exams. And also because I constantly was physically tired, man, I basically was improving myself. My grades improved, my intellectual capacity improved. And I'd strongly advocate working out in some form or the other, or like actually physically exerting yourself, and because it'll actually improve your mental health too.
Wow. Okay, fine. Then, what study sources did you study from? Like, what was your type of study plan to get the really good grades that you got?
So what the way I would work is I would see before much before, like whenever the chapter was taught, either in school or back at home or back at some class, I would make notes. Once I would make my own notes, not from the teachers. I wouldn't just copy paste teacher. I would make my
Yeah.
own. And because I made my own notes, when you study from a textbook, like on the day before the exam is going to take you like at least an hour per chapter. That's like an hour for a 20-page chapter, which is like it's going to take you at least an hour. But when it's your own notes, because you can connect to the time where you had actually written those notes, it takes you less than like 10 minutes because like you're looking at them and you know what you've written because you wrote
Correct.
that. Like you remember the
Exactly.
memory of like the past days, the present. And you literally you remember writing those notes, and because of that, your memory cycle goes to, oh, what was I taught in class at those time when I was writing those notes? And that helps you learn it very well. And I'd say it worked really well for me because revising my whole economics portion took me exactly 15 minutes before the day of the exam. And the rest of the time I was literally either just watching videos or like looking at past papers.
Oh, wow. That's a great way to study before an exam. Wow. Okay. Then, can you describe your journey through application season?
Okay, application season was really rough for me in the beginning because I'm an Indian male doing CS, and I actually applied to the most competitive programs ever. My ED was actually a 50% program where they take 50 students from all over the world. It's actually the Penn MNT program. It's insanely difficult to get into, especially for an international kid, because when your international acceptance rate is halved, and when you're international male CS, it's halved even more. So you're basically competing with one fourth of the actual acceptance rate. And when the acceptance rate is 1%, you're basically at 0.25% already. So it's like it was insanely hard for me. So I did a Penn MNT ED. I did not get in. It was really hard because I had constant rejections from the top programs. But eventually I did get into like Northwestern for CS and uh Georgia Tech for CS. Actually, Northwestern got for data science, but Northwestern, Georgia Tech, BU had scholarships at universities, got into honor programs at some. So yeah, it was pretty decent eventually, but in the start it was really rough.
Oh, okay. Wow. And how about your college essays? Like, how did you write your college essays? Like, did you take help from AI, Chat GPT, or purely on your own?
I wouldn't recommend taking help from ChatGPT because the moment, like, let's say one university flags you, if they communicate it to other universities, you're basically gone. Like, you're not going
Oh,
to get in. So I didn't use AI at all. It was all handwritten. And what I would recommend is, if like there's Y essays, there's Y major essays. These are two common essays. Have a format written for them, have something done, and make sure the format is perfect. The
yeah.
Georgia Tech essay I wrote was actually my essay, so my Y essay got me here. And um, I would also recommend you not to use ChatGPT, not to use all of these tools. At least, I mean, it's good to use them for other things, but at least for your college essays, just to be safe, because your life is dependent on them.
Yeah.
About them by yourself, write them, make them good, start very well in advance. It was a 3 4 months long process for me to write a good essay, and I don't even know if my essays are good, but hopefully they are. But it took me 3 4 months, and my counselors were constantly reading my essays and like telling me, oh, this can be changed or this should be changed. I had some of my friends read them too. I had my family read them, so they were helping me throughout this journey. And I think I think it went pretty okay. Eventually, my essays turned out pretty fine. I had roughly by the end of it, I had like 30 college essays written on like different topics, and most of them just involved me looking at my application, reading stuff about like whatever I've done before, and coming up with innovative ways to like talk about that.
Oh, that's great. So, obviously, one last question. What's your final advice on any international student to get into Georgia Tech?
I'd say, for Georgia Tech and possibly any other university, I'd say you're an international student. It's going to be difficult. The journey is not easy. You're going to have your ups and downs. At times it's going to feel very helpless. At times it's going to feel like you have nothing. And you might be into a university that you really don't want to go to because it's just not your energy. And you might feel very, very, very low or very, very sad. And you might feel like you're not getting in anywhere in the start. You might even feel that there's too much work pressure on you as an international kid, not at university, but before university when you're coming here. And it does get hard. It is hard, but it is worth it at the end. As a kid, I didn't see myself going to Georgia Tech very honestly, but now that I'm here, I can't like it more. Couldn't possibly love a university more. So it is hard, but it is worth it. And trust me, it's going to work out regardless of what it is.
Okay, I think that's some really great advice. So I think we'll end the podcast here. So that is it for today, guys. So if you enjoyed this video, please smash the like button. Also, please do subscribe to my YouTube channel, Siddhant'S Coding World. So yeah, see you soon, everyone. Bye for now.